Our next adventure is in May of 2025 over Memorial Day weekend, and this time we're heading up to Maine. On Friday afternoon, we hop on a direct flight from St. Pete Airport all the way to Bangor, Maine, where we meet up with our good friends Mark and Jen, who drove up from New York to join us this weekend. Since our adventures are taking us to another national park this time, in Acadia, we decided to fully embrace the outdoors lifestyle and go glamping. We're staying at the Woods of Eden Glampground on Mount Desert Island, just outside of Acadia National Park. Our quote-unquote tent was pretty large. It had 2 full-size bedrooms, a loft, a full kitchen, a bathroom with hot running water, and a back porch for all of us to hang out on. But first things first this morning, let's grab a cup of coffee, head out to the back porch, and start planning out the day. The Glampground was nestled into a secluded part of Mount Desert Island, so it was pretty quiet most of the time, and the views were just gorgeous. Since we're so close to Bar Harbor, we're going to head there first.
After a delicious breakfast at Cafe This Way, we visited a craft fair in the middle of town where we picked up a stained glass golden retriever and other local goodies. Next, we walked down to Frenchman's Bay to check out the waterfront. If you can spot the islands off in the distance, they are known as Porcupine Islands and are maintained by Acadia National Park. They are home to a number of wildlife, including bald eagles and seabirds like loons.
Bar Harbor is also known for being a summer retreat for some of our nation's wealthiest families, including the Rockefellers, the Fords, the Vanderbilts, and the Carnegies. And no surprise here with LL Bean having a huge footprint inside of Bar Harbor. Leon Bean founded the company in Maine after inventing the waterproof bean boot used for hunting and fishing. The next stop on our adventure today is down to Bar Island, which is only accessible via a land bridge and appears only an hour and a half before to an hour and a half after low tide. If you don't make it back in time, it's about a half-a-mile swim back to the mainland. We spent some time wandering around the land bridge, checking out the sights, picking up some shells, and just enjoying the time out there. While the weather certainly wasn't picture perfect on this day, it was about 40 to 50 degrees with overcast skies. It was certainly a welcome relief to the 90 to 95 degree weather we were experiencing down in Tampa before we left. And here's a better shot of the Porcupine Islands, in case you didn't see them earlier. We spotted these blue mussels everywhere on the land bridge, and of course the seagull looking for an easy snack. On to our next stop, a lobstering tour, because of course we're in Maine. This trip was led by a captain who retired from the Coast Guard out here in Maine. He told us all about the Maine lobster fishery, including the 130 million pounds of harvest every year. And what would a lobster tour be without pulling up some lobster pots? The captain shared that every fisherman's pot is marked by uniquely colored buoys. Our buoys are purple and green. Here we are checking out today's catch for our boat. Before the lobsters could be passed around the boat, they had to be banded, and of course, Lexi raised her hand to volunteer. First, wrap the band around the pincher claw, since it's the fastest. Then turn your attention to the crusher claw. After playing with the lobsters for a little bit, we continued on to the Egg Rock Lighthouse, which was built in 1875. Of course, it's not used anymore since all ships have modern navigation equipment, but it's a really nice thing to look at. Egg Rock is now home to thousands of harbor seals, and this bald eagle. The captain continued to wind his way around the island and to the backside of the island, to capture some spectacular views. Fighting the cold and all bundled up, it was finally time to turn around and head back into Bar Harbor. First, we had to let the lobsters go, and of course, Lexi raised her hand again. This poor lobster got a face full of rope before being let go. Then Jen also raised her hand to volunteer to throw our other catch overboard. Minus the rope, of course. On the way back, the captain shared a story about a German U-boat during World War II having found to have dropped 2 spies off here in Maine to learn more about the Manhattan Project. After many hours talking about lobster, it was finally time to get our hands on one, so we went to the Bar Harbor Lobster Pound for dinner. They tell us not to play with your food, but honestly, who could resist? After dinner and back at the Glampground, Lexi went into the shed to find some baseballs, gloves, and highlight equipment to play with. You really can't ask for a better setting than this. Campgrounds, lobster, beautiful cold weather, just hanging out. As the sun was setting, we went back into the shed to find some board games to top off the night. We landed on Pictionary, which proved to be more entertaining than you would ever imagine. Alright, this is it. This is what we came to see. We woke up early, secured a reservation to visit the top of Cadillac Mountain to see the sunrise, and here we are, entering Acadia National Park, ready for the big event. In what might be the most drastic Instagram versus reality moment, it was an incredibly foggy day. We couldn't see a thing. So what do? We make lemonade out of lemons, and pop into photos, and we all just laugh at the irony of it all. Since we're all awake, I figured why not take advantage of it? Head back down to the land bridge between Bar Harbor and Bar Island. And look how beautiful it is. Nobody for miles.
While we didn't see the sunrise at the top of Cadillac Mountain, the clouds went away as we picked up a delicious breakfast from Jordan's restaurant. If anyone asks, I got a chocolate chip pancake. After breakfast, we took a nap and then went back into Acadia National Park for some hiking. Along the way, we saw this white-tailed deer and another eagle flying overhead.
Removed from the federal endangered species list back in 2007, there are over 700 pairs of nesting bald eagles in the state of Maine, and this wouldn't be the last one we saw on our trip. We finally arrive at Jordan's Pond for our planned 3.3 mostly flat walk around the lake. Jordan Pond is actually the clearest lake in all of the state of Maine, and it's the water source for the village of Seal Harbor, so nobody's allowed to go swimming in it. We start to make our way around the lake. It's a pretty cloudy and windy day when we start, but the skies just open up as the afternoon wears on, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so here's where our mostly flat walk around the pond kind of takes a turn. Now we find ourselves heading up to the top of the South Bubble, which is more of a climb than a hike. Ashley's always looking for the next challenge or adventure, so she leads us up to the top of the South Bubble, which has about 500 feet of elevation gain over less than a mile. The terrain on this hike requires us to climb vertically through this narrow gap. Here I am trying to figure out how the heck I'm going to get up there. Somehow though, I managed to crawl my way up and join up with the group. Lexi leads the way and she will not be denied. She's determined to make it all the way to the top, and wow, what a payoff. Jen and Mark, of course, make it up without any problems, and then we all just bask in our accomplishment and enjoy the view. You can see where we started, way down the other side of the lake. One last celebratory photo at the summit sign, and then we're heading back down. The trail back down was significantly easier, not just because we were heading down, but it was significantly less steep and under all these trees for cover. Eventually making it down to ground level, we join back up with the Jordan Pond Trail and continue our trek around the lake. We all thought the rest of the hike would be pretty easy compared to the climb to the top of the South Bubble, but we still had to traverse some logs and climb some rocks and then walk on a makeshift boardwalk the rest of the way. All in all, we all just had a great time. Lexi enjoyed posing and doing some acrobatics to celebrate along the way. Mark certainly wins this one. Jen just can't stop laughing at us. Speaking of Mark and Jen, despite Mark taking some lime juice to the eye when making his Corona, they treated us to dinner back at the Glampground. They made us all some amazing burgers and veggies on the grill as we told stories of the day. Yet another perfect evening with some of our best friends. After a delicious dinner, and since we didn't get to see the sunrise, we took off in search of the perfect sunset. Just outside Mount Desert Island, this is Thompson Island, again, maintained by Acadia National Park. I think we did it. This place was perfect. The sunset was beautiful. I think it was a hidden gem. There was nobody around. Everybody enjoyed taking photos and just enjoying the backdrop. We all agreed, though, that there was just one thing missing from this perfect evening: ice cream. So we went back to the Lobster Pound in a dedicated ice cream boat to find some ice cream. I had this amazing blueberry ice cream and blueberry pie, a staple of the area. It just doesn't get any better than this. Lexi found her favorite ring toss game and challenged Jen and I, and of course, she won. The next day was our last here in Maine, so we had to make it count. After some coffee and fresh breakfast, we all decided we needed to go back to Cadillac Mountain on this sunny day to see what it really should have looked like when we were there yesterday for sunrise. What a difference a day makes. Look at this. You can see for miles and miles. This is the tallest mountain on the entire eastern seaboard of the United States, at about 1,530 feet. Part of the year, it's also the very first place you can see the sunrise, given it's not a cloudy day. And just as I alluded to earlier, here's another bald eagle that we saw. Nova Scotia is just over 200 miles from here, and reachable by a 3.5-hour ferry from Bar Harbor, but the island we can see just off in the distance is called Great Cranberry Island, and as Lexi is telling her fictional YouTube followers here, the Porcupine Islands. Unfortunately, this is where we had to say goodbye to our good friends Mark and Jen, who left to head back down home to New York. With a few hours still left before our late night flight back home to Tampa, we decided it was finally time for the big hike of the trip. This hike is actually one of the most famous hikes in all of Acadia National Park, and it's a loop with 2 options to reach the summit. Lexi and I took the less strenuous Bowl Trail, which included stairs and some bouldering. Along the way, though, we were rewarded with some just incredible views of the Maine coastline. We make it to the top and enjoy the fruits of our labor. Now let's check in on Ashley's hike and see what she's up to. Ashley decided to take on one of the most difficult hikes in all of Acadia, the Beehive Trail. The Beehive Trail is known for its iron rungs embedded into the sheer rock faces, allowing hikers to climb the exposed steep cliffs. And if that weren't enough, the trail also has several narrow ledges with no guardrails to prevent a very long fall. You have to be incredibly sure-footed and confident to be able to hike this trail. Be able to muster all of your strength when you're absolutely exhausted to climb up these iron rungs. And somehow Ashley did it, all with a giant smile on her face. She joined us here at the summit. After the adrenaline rush wears off, we head back down the Bull Trail to explore the rest of what Acadia has to offer. Lexi can't help but to show off some of her strength, and then we head over to Sand Beach. Since it was Memorial Day weekend, the beach was actually pretty crowded. We didn't spend much time here. Instead, we opted to head up the coastline to check out some of the cool rock formations. We had one more site to explore before heading back to the mainland, Bass Harbor Head Lighthouse. You may recognize this lighthouse from postcards and desktop wallpapers everywhere. It was originally constructed in 1858 and is now on the official National Register of Historic Places. In order to get the perfect view of the lighthouse, we had to climb out on top of these giant granite boulders. Jen and Mark share a quick photo from one of the stops while on their way home, and we passed by Stephen King's old home just outside of Bangor. Unfortunately, as the saying goes, all great things must come to an end. We're back at the airport now, ready to board our flight back home to Tampa.
Going to Acadia National Park was so fun. I would definitely go back. If I had to pick a favorite part, it would probably be going to Bar Harbor Lighthouse and seeing all of the seals laying on the beach.
I couldn't agree more. While Acadia National Park and Bar Harbor are beautiful parts of our country, just like all of our other adventures, the best part is always spending time with our family and friends.